heard the crunch before I felt it. That's the thing about black ice on Christmas Day. It doesn't announce itself. One second you're driving through a postcard-perfect New England snowfall, humming along to some scratchy radio carol, and the next second your truck is doing a lazy pirouette across Route 9 like it's auditioning for Dancing with the Stars. Except there's nothing graceful about a 2-ton Ford F-150 deciding to ignore the concept of friction. My spine made a sound like a Pepsi can folding in someone's fist. That's when I felt it. The world went sideways, then upside down, then inside out. Glass exploded. Metal screamed. My shoulder kissed the door frame with way too much enthusiasm. And somewhere in the chaos, I remember thinking, well, Daniel, this is one hell of a way to spend your 55th Christmas. Then everything went white. Not the peaceful, walk into the light kind of white. More like the your brain just hit the reset button kind of white. I don't remember the ambulance ride. Don't remember the paramedics cutting off my jacket. The good Carhartt one I'd gotten on sale last Black Friday. Don't remember the doors of St. Michael's Hospital swallowing me whole. What I do remember is the voice. Cold, clinical, annoyed. We need to operate immediately. His spine is compromised. We're calling his emergency contact now. I floated in some strange gray space between awake and not awake. My body felt like it belonged to someone else, someone who'd been folded in half and shoved into a trash compactor. Then I heard the phone call. The doctor's voice was tense, professional. Mr. Ward, this is Dr. Patel at St. Michael's. Your father's been in a serious accident. We need to perform emergency surgery on his spine. We need family here to sign consent forms and... My son's voice cut through the gray fog like a knife through butter. Tyler, my boy. Yeah, I got it. Look, I'm kind of in the middle of something here. We're hosting, and Madison's family just arrived, so... Mr. Ward, your father could be paralyzed. We need... Right, I understand. It's Christmas, you know? Bad timing. Bad timing. I wanted to laugh. Would have, if my ribs weren't busy doing an impression of broken piano keys. Sir, we really need someone here. The surgery is critical. There was a pause. I could hear voices in the background on Tyler's end. Laughter, music, the clink of glasses. Okay, here's the thing, Tyler said. His voice had that smooth, practice quality he used with difficult restaurant customers. If he doesn't make it, just let me know. Text is fine. I'll handle whatever needs handling after the holidays. But right now, I've got 40 people here, and I can't just... Mr. Ward, your father might die. Another pause. Shorter this time. Then I guess we'll deal with that when it happens. I'm sorry, I really am, but I can't leave right now. Do what you need to do. I'll sign whatever remotely if you can email it. I floated there in the gray space, my son's words echoing like they were bouncing around inside a cave. If he doesn't make it, just let me know. I'm busy hosting. Bad timing. Something inside me. Something that had nothing to do with my shattered spine. Cracked clean in half. The doctor's voice came back, sharper now. Get him prepped. We're doing this without consent. Document everything. Then I went under. All the way under. Into the black. When I woke up, the world was made of pain, not the sharp, screaming kind. The deep, grinding kind that settles into your bones and makes a home there. Every breath felt like someone was running sandpaper across my lungs. My head throbbed with a rhythm that matched the annoying beep of the heart monitor next to my bed. I was alive. Funny how that can feel like both a victory and a disappointment at the same time. The room was dim. Late afternoon light filtered through blinds that someone had pulled half closed. I could hear the hospital around me. Distant voices, squeaking wheels, that particular antiseptic smell that seems to be universal to every hospital on Earth. I tried to move. Bad idea. My back informed me, in no uncertain terms, that moving was off the table for the foreseeable future. Oh, good. You're awake. I turned my head, slowly, carefully, and found a nurse standing beside my bed. She was young, maybe 30, with dark hair pulled back in a ponytail and tired eyes that had seen too many long shifts. How you feeling? She asked, checking the IV in my arm. Like I got hit by my own truck, I croaked. My voice sounded like I'd been gargling gravel. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. You're lucky to be alive, Mr. Ward. Dr. Patel is one of the best spinal surgeons in the state. Another hour and... She trailed off, shaking her head. My son, I started. Did he? Your son didn't come, she said quietly. I already knew that, but hearing it out loud made it real in a way that hurt worse than my back. The nurse glanced toward the door, then back at me. She had that look people get when they're debating whether to tell you something you probably don't want to hear. There's something else, she said, her voice dropping to barely above a whisper. I probably shouldn't tell you this, but your son called billing. He removed himself as your emergency contact, told them to classify you as self-pay. The heart monitor's beeping picked up pace. He what? He said he couldn't be responsible for your medical bills, removed his name from everything. She squeezed my hand. I'm sorry, I thought you should know. The room spun. Not from the pain meds, from pure, undiluted rage. Self-pay. My son, the boy I'd put through college, the kid whose restaurant I'd helped finance, the ungrateful little punk I'd taught to ride a bike and drive a stick shift, had ditched me like an expired coupon. Mr. Ward? Are you okay? Should I get the doctor? No, I managed. My voice came out flat. No, I'm fine. She didn't look convinced, but she nodded. Try to rest. You need to recover. After she left, I lay there staring at the ceiling tiles, counting the little dots in the acoustic panels, trying to process, trying not to feel, trying not to imagine Tyler at his perfect Christmas party with his perfect wife and her perfect family, laughing over craft cocktails while I lay here with a rebuilt spine and a hospital bill that would probably bankrupt me. Bad timing, he'd said. Yeah, bad timing. The pain meds started pulling me back under, and I didn't fight it. Unconsciousness seemed like a mercy. But just before I went under, I heard voices in the hallway. One of them was familiar, that particular pitch and cadence that can only belong to someone you've known their whole life. Tyler. He was here. I tried to sit up, but my body vetoed that plan immediately, so I just listened. Can't believe this happened today of all days, Tyler was saying. He sounded more annoyed than concerned. Madison is freaking out. Her parents keep asking questions. Another voice, female, sharp. Well, what did you tell them? Madison. My daughter-in-law, the woman who'd once told me at Thanksgiving that my energy was toxic, and I was ruining the vibe. I told them he's fine, that it's not serious. Is it serious? I don't know. I haven't talked to the doctor yet. I just wanted to swing by and make sure there's nothing we need to sign. Make sure he's not going to be a problem. A problem. Your father nearly dies, and he's a problem. How long do we have to stay? Madison asked. Like 10 minutes, then we need to get back. Jamie's going to start serving dinner at 6, and if we're not there for the toast, my mom will lose her mind. They were discussing me like I was an inconvenient errand. Pick up dry cleaning, stop by the hospital, check on the old man, get back to the party. I heard footsteps approaching my room. I closed my eyes and tried to steady my breathing, tried to look unconscious. The door opened. He's still out, Tyler said. Good. Less awkward. Did you sign the forms? Madison asked. Yeah, they emailed them. I just clicked through. It's handled. What about the bills? Not our problem. I removed myself as responsible party. He's got savings. He'll figure it out. Madison laughed. Actually laughed. God, Ty, you're terrible. I'm practical, he corrected. Look, I know it sounds cold, but we can't keep bailing him out. He needs to learn to take care of himself. We've got our own bills. The restaurant is bleeding money, and your parents are already helping us with the condo down payment. We can't afford another dependent. Another dependent. I was 55 years old, still working full-time as a safety supervisor on construction sites, still paying my own rent, still breathing on my own, but sure, I was a dependent. You're right, Madison said. You're totally right. Besides, he's probably fine. Your dad's tough. He'll bounce back. Exactly. He always does. There was a pause. Then Madison's voice again, quieter this time. What if he doesn't? What if this is, serious? Then we'll deal with it, Tyler said. But he didn't sound worried. He sounded calculating. Actually, not that I want anything to happen, but we'd inherit the apartment and that property upstate he's always talking about. Tyler. But Madison didn't sound shocked. She sounded interested. I'm just saying, it would solve the condo problem. They were quiet for a moment. I could feel them standing there, looking at me, doing the math. We should go, Tyler finally said, before he wakes up. This is depressing. Yeah, let's get out of here. Their footsteps retreated. The door closed. I lay there in the dim room, heart monitor beeping its steady rhythm, and felt something shift inside me. Something fundamental. Something that couldn't be shifted back. The boy I'd raised was gone. I opened my eyes and stared at the ceiling. A nurse came by later, a different one, older, with kind eyes and a thick Boston accent. She adjusted my pillows and checked my vitals and tried to make small talk about the weather. Your son was here earlier, she said. Nice young man, very polite. Yeah, I said. He's a real prince. She must have heard something in my voice because she gave me a long look. You need anything? More pain meds? No, I'm good. You sure? You look like you're hurting. I was hurting, just not in any way she could fix with medication. I'm sure, I said. After she left, I reached for my phone on the bedside table. My fingers felt thick and clumsy, but I managed to unlock the screen. 47 messages. None from Tyler. I scrolled through them. Friends from work asking if I was okay, my ex-wife Lauren asking if I needed anything, my buddy Frank from the site offering to bring by some food, but nothing from my son. I opened Instagram. Probably shouldn't have. But I'm a masochist, apparently. Tyler's account was public. He posted constantly, part of his brand as an influencer chef, or whatever the hell that meant. The most recent post was from 2 hours ago. It was a photo of his dining room. Elegant table settings, candles, crystal, everything perfectly arranged like something out of a magazine. The caption read, "Grateful for family, food, and another blessed Christmas with my favorite people. Des Puibsy, blessed Nadar family, first or Christmas magic." The comments were full of heart emojis and people saying how beautiful everything looked and how lucky he was. There were more photos. Tyler and Madison raising champagne glasses, Madison's parents looking sophisticated and wealthy, Tyler in an apron, laughing at something off camera. Not a single mention of his father in the hospital. I kept scrolling, found a video he'd posted to his story. It was Madison, slightly tipsy, laughing into the camera. "Tell them what you said earlier," she giggled, Tyler's voice off camera. "Which part?" "About your dad." "Oh God, Madison, don't..." But she was already talking. "So Ty's dad got in an accident today. He's fine. But Ty was like, well, if he dies, at least I won't have to drive out there for Christmas next year." Laughter. Multiple people laughing. "Madison, you're terrible," Tyler said, but he was laughing too. "I'm kidding. We love you, Daniel. Get well soon." Madison made a kissy face at the camera. But seriously, Tyler was like, "If he doesn't make it, just text me. I'm busy hosting." More laughter. The video ended. I watched it 3 more times. Each time, the rage grew. By the 4th viewing, it had crystallized into something cold and hard and sharp. They thought this was funny. They'd made a joke out of it at their party. Probably told the story multiple times to different groups, getting laughs each time. I set the phone down carefully, deliberately, and I started planning. The nurse had said I was lucky to be alive. She was right. But Tyler and Madison? They were about to find out just how unlucky they were that I'd survived. Before we continue, hit the hype button, subscribe, and like the video to help the channel grow. Tell us which city you are from in the comments. We'd love to get to know our audience better. The hospital kept me for 3 days. 3 days of physical therapy sessions where they taught me how to walk again. 3 days of doctors poking and prodding and asking me to rate my pain on a scale of 1 to 10. 3 days of watching TV in a room that smelled like industrial cleaner and desperation. Tyler never came back. Madison never came at all. But Lauren did. My ex-wife showed up on day 2, carrying a bag from the deli I liked and wearing the same expression she'd worn throughout most of our marriage, a mixture of exasperation and reluctant concern. "You look like hell," she said, setting the bag on the rolling table. "Thanks, you look good too." She snorted. "Don't start with the sarcasm, Daniel. I'm not in the mood." Lauren had been a nurse for 30 years. Still was, though at a different hospital across town. She had that particular brand of no-nonsense practicality that comes from spending decades dealing with people at their worst. We'd divorced 8 years ago, but it had been one of those rare, amicable divorces. No screaming matches, no thrown dishes, just 2 people admitting they'd grown into strangers who happened to share a last name. She pulled up a chair and gave me a once-over with professional eyes. "How's the pain?" "Manageable." "That means terrible, but you're too stubborn to admit it." She opened the deli bag and pulled out a sandwich. "Here, real food. The stuff they're feeding you here tastes like cardboard." I took the sandwich. Turkey and Swiss. My favorite. "Thanks." "Don't mention it." She settled back in the chair. I heard what Tyler did. Of course she had. Hospital staff gossip traveled faster than rumors in a small town. "Which part?" I asked. "All of it. The phone call, the billing department, the fact that he hasn't been back." Her jaw tightened. "I tried calling him. He didn't answer. He's busy. He's an asshole." I couldn't argue with that. Lauren was quiet for a moment, watching me unwrap the sandwich with clumsy fingers. "What are you going to do?" "About what?" "Don't play dumb, Daniel. I know that look. You're planning something." She wasn't wrong. The past 2 days, lying in that bed, I'd had plenty of time to think, to plan, to let the anger ferment into something useful. "I'm not doing anything," I said. I'm just going to recover and get back to work. Liar. Lauren, he's still your son, Daniel. Don't do anything stupid. I won't. But we both knew I was lying. She stayed for another hour, filling me in on hospital politics and her latest problems with the nursing staff at her hospital and 100 other mundane things that felt weirdly comforting. Normal conversation, normal problems. A reminder that the world kept spinning even when your spine didn't. Before she left, she squeezed my hand. Call me if you need anything. I mean it. I will. And Daniel, whatever you're planning, be smart about it. After she left, I went back to my phone. I'd been doing research, the kind of deep dive, obsessive research you can only do when you're stuck in a hospital bed with nothing but time and a smartphone. Tyler's restaurant, Ember and Oak, had been his dream project. He'd opened it 2 years ago with Madison, combining his culinary school training with her event planning skills. It had gotten decent reviews, built a following among the Instagram crowd, become the kind of place where people took photos of their food before eating it. But scratch the surface, and things looked different. I'd found the business filings, the health inspection reports, the Yelp reviews that Tyler somehow kept buried under the 4- and 5-star ratings. Ember and Oak was bleeding money. They'd taken out massive loans to open it, then more loans to keep it afloat. They were 3 months behind on rent. 2 vendors had filed complaints about unpaid invoices. The influencer chef persona was a facade. Behind the Instagram posts and the carefully curated image was a business circling the drain. And I knew why they wanted my property so badly. I owned a small apartment building upstate. Nothing fancy. Just a 6-unit building I'd bought 20 years ago when property was cheap and I was still married and optimistic about the future. It had appreciated nicely. If I sold it now, it would fetch maybe $400,000, maybe more. Tyler had been asking about it for months. Casual mentions at first. Have you ever thought about selling the upstate place? Then more direct. You don't need that property. Let me take it off your hands. We could work out a deal. I'd always said no. Now I understood why he'd been pushing so hard. I kept digging. Found Tyler's social media accounts, all of them, not just the public-facing ones. Found the business Instagram for Ember and Oak. Found Madison's event planning portfolio. Found the cracks. There were complaints on the business page that had been deleted but still showed up in Google Cache. Reviews mentioning food poisoning, comments about Tyler being rude to staff, reports of Madison screaming at vendors. I took screenshots of everything. Then I went deeper. I logged into the family cell phone account. Tyler was still on my plan, had been too lazy to switch to his own. I couldn't read his texts, but I could see his call logs, his data usage, the times and locations where he used his phone. It was a gold mine. I could see patterns, regular calls to certain numbers, frequent trips to locations that weren't the restaurant. I cross-referenced the numbers with public directories and social media, found Tyler's investors, found Madison's wealthy parents, found their landlord. I was building a map, a web of connections and pressure points and leverage. By day 3, I had a plan. It wasn't fully formed yet, but the outline was there. I knew what I needed to do. I just had to get out of this damn hospital first. Dr. Patel came by that afternoon to do a final check. He was a small man with precise movements and the kind of quiet confidence that comes from being very, very good at what you do. You're healing well, he said, reviewing my chart. Better than expected, honestly. Can I go home? Technically, yes, but I'd recommend another few days of observation. The surgery was extensive, and I want to go home. He gave me a long look. You'll need to be careful. No lifting, no twisting. Physical therapy twice a week for at least 3 months, and someone should check on you regularly. I'll manage. Mr. Ward, I'm serious. This isn't something to take lightly. You could re-injure yourself very easily. Noted. He sighed. You're signing out AMA, against medical advice. You understand that means? I understand. He wasn't happy about it, but he processed the paperwork. By evening, I was dressed in the clothes Lauren had brought me, sweatpants and an old flannel shirt because nothing else would fit over the back brace, and walking very, very carefully out to the parking lot. Lauren had offered to drive me home. I'd declined. I needed to do this myself. The Uber driver kept glancing at me in the rearview mirror like he was worried I might die in his back seat. I must have looked pretty rough. My apartment was on the 3rd floor of an old building downtown. No elevator. I stood at the bottom of the stairs and seriously considered just sleeping in the lobby. But no, I'd made it this far. I could make it up 3 flights. It took me 20 minutes. Each step was a negotiation between pride and pain. But I made it. The apartment was exactly as I'd left it Christmas morning. Coffee cup in the sink, jacket on the hook by the door, everything frozen in the moment before my life had gone sideways. I lowered myself onto the couch, carefully, so carefully, and pulled out my phone. Time to start phase 1. I opened my contacts and scrolled to a name I hadn't called in months. Jake Riley. Jake was a lawyer, not a fancy corporate type, more like a street-fighting, working class, know every loophole in the book type. We'd gone to high school together. He'd helped me with the property purchase years ago. He answered on the third ring. Daniel Ward. Heard you had some excitement. News traveled fast. Yeah, excitement. That's one word for it. You okay? Define okay. He chuckled. What do you need? Legal advice. The hypothetical kind. Hypothetical. Right. Those are always fun. Shoot. Hypothetically, if someone was on another person's cell phone plan and family account, what kind of information could the account holder legally access? There was a pause. Hypothetically? Hypothetically. Well, hypothetically, the account holder can access call logs, data usage, location information, basically anything that's part of the service they're paying for. It's their account. But they can't access the content of messages or calls. That's protected. What about social media? If it's posted publicly, anyone can see it. If it's private but the person voluntarily showed it to you or gave you access, still legal. But hacking into accounts or using password recovery to access private information, that's illegal. Good to know. Daniel, what are you planning? Nothing illegal. That's not reassuring. It's not meant to be. We talked for another 20 minutes. I asked questions. He gave answers. By the end of the call, I had a clear understanding of where the lines were. I had no intention of crossing them. I didn't need to. Everything I needed was right there in the public record. Tyler and Madison had been sloppy, arrogant. They'd never considered that someone might actually look. But I was looking, and I was finding everything. Next, I called Frank from the construction site. Boss, how you feeling? Like I got hit by a truck? That's because you did get hit. Technically by your own truck, but still. Fair point. Listen, I need a favor. Name it. I need you to keep your ear to the ground. Any talk about Ember and Oak, any rumors, any gossip, anything you hear. The restaurant? Tyler's place? Yeah. Frank was quiet for a moment. He was a smart guy. He could read between lines. You want me to ask around? If it comes up naturally, don't force it. But yeah, anything you hear, I want to know. You got it, boss. Anything else? Yeah. Can you cover my shifts for another week? I'll owe you. Don't worry about it. Just focus on healing. After we hung up, I opened my laptop, moving very carefully because my back was screaming at me, and logged into my email. I had messages from the hospital about billing, messages from my insurance company, and buried among them, an email from Tyler. Subject line, Dad, please read. I opened it. Dad, I know you're probably upset about Christmas. I want you to know that I didn't mean for things to go the way they did. It was a chaotic day, and I was overwhelmed. Madison's parents were here, and there was a lot of pressure to make everything perfect. I should have come to the hospital. I know that. I'm sorry. I hope you're recovering okay. Let me know if you need anything. We should talk soon. Love, Tyler. I read it twice. It sounded sincere. Almost. But I'd heard the phone call. I'd seen the Instagram video. I'd listened to them in my hospital room talking about me like I was an inconvenient piece of furniture. This email was damage control. Nothing more. I didn't respond. Instead, I opened a new document and started writing. Notes, plans, steps. I worked until midnight, until my back was screaming and my eyes were blurring. Then I took my pain meds and passed out on the couch because the bed felt too far away. When I woke up the next morning, stiff and sore and barely able to move, I checked my phone. Tyler had posted a new Instagram story. It was a photo of him and Madison at the restaurant, both looking camera-ready and happy. The caption read, "Back to the grind, excited for our New Year's Eve special menu. Limited seating, book now." No mention of his injured father. No acknowledgement that anything had happened. Just business as usual. I smiled. Not a nice smile. The kind of smile that would make people nervous if they could see it. Phase 1 was already in motion. I'd planted seeds, made calls, set things in motion. Now I just had to wait for them to grow. February brought freezing rain and a new development. Ember and Oak was selling, not closing, selling. Tyler posted an announcement on Instagram, carefully worded, making it sound like a strategic business decision rather than what it actually was. Desperation. After 2 incredible years, Madison and I have decided to pursue new opportunities. We're excited to announce that we're selling Ember and Oak to focus on our next chapter. This restaurant will always hold a special place in our hearts, and we're grateful to everyone who supported us on this journey. More updates coming soon. The comments were a mixture of sad faces and people asking what happened. Tyler didn't answer any of them. I knew what happened. The lawsuits had piled up. The vendors had stopped delivering. The landlord had started eviction proceedings. And Madison's parents had apparently refused to throw any more money into the pit. Robert Hale had called me 2 weeks after our porch conversation. Just a brief call, polite, asking if I'd given any more thought to Tyler's interest in my property. I told him I'm keeping it, I'd said. Good, I think that's wise. We'd left it at that, but I could read between the lines. Robert had cut Tyler and Madison off, told them to figure it out themselves, and now they were selling. The listing went up on a business for sale website. Turnkey restaurant opportunity in prime downtown location, established customer base, fully equipped kitchen, great visibility. They were asking $200,000 for it. They'd never get it. I knew the real numbers, the debts, the violations, the equipment that was barely holding together. Anyone who did proper due diligence would walk away, but that wasn't my problem. My problem was that Tyler had started calling me again, multiple times a day, leaving voicemails that got progressively more desperate. Dad, I really need to talk to you. Dad, please. This is important. Dad, I know you're mad, but we need to discuss the property. I have buyers interested, and if we move fast, we could... I deleted them without listening all the way through. Then one night, he showed up at my apartment again, this time with Madison. I almost didn't answer the door, but curiosity won out. Madison looked worse than Tyler. Her Instagram-perfect aesthetic was gone, no makeup. Hair pulled back in a messy ponytail. She'd been crying. Her eyes were red and puffy. Can we come in? Tyler asked. I stepped aside. They sat on my couch. I stayed standing, kept my distance. Dad, we're in trouble, Tyler started. I'm aware. We need help, real help. The restaurant isn't going to sell for what we need, and we have debts that need to be paid. Madison's parents won't help anymore, and you want my property. We need it, Madison said. Her voice was small, broken. Nothing like the confident, sharp-tongued woman who'd told people I was toxic. We're going to lose everything. You already lost everything. You just haven't accepted it yet. Dad, please. Tyler leaned forward. I know I messed up. I know I was a terrible son. But I'm begging you. Help us out of this. We'll pay you back, I swear. With what money? We'll figure it out. We'll get jobs. We'll work it off. Whatever it takes. I looked at them. Really looked at them. Saw the desperation, the fear, the realization that their carefully constructed life was falling apart. And I felt nothing. No, I said. Dad? No, you made your choices. You decided I was disposable. You decided that money was more important than family. Now you're dealing with the consequences. I was wrong. Tyler stood up. I was wrong, okay? I admit it. I was selfish and stupid, and I hurt you, but I'm still your son. You stopped being my son when you told the hospital to let me die. Madison started crying again, full sobs. Please, Mr. Ward. We'll lose everything. We'll be bankrupt. Our lives will be ruined. Then you'll rebuild. People do it all the time. How can you be so cruel? She was shouting now, crying and shouting. How can you just sit there and watch us suffer? The same way you sat in that hospital hallway and talked about how convenient it would be if I died. She froze. The color drained from her face. You didn't think I heard that, did you? You and Tyler, standing outside my room, doing the math on my inheritance, solving your condo problem. Did you really think I was unconscious? Tyler looked like he might be sick. Dad, get out. Please, get out of my apartment, now. They left. Madison was still crying. Tyler looked shell-shocked. I closed the door behind them and stood there in the silence. My phone buzzed. A text from Lauren. Heard Tyler came by. You okay? I'm fine. Want to talk about it? Nothing to talk about. She didn't respond. Knew me well enough to know when to push and when to leave it alone. I went to bed early that night. Took an extra pain pill because my back was screaming. Lay there in the dark, staring at the ceiling. I should have felt guilty. Should have felt something. But I didn't. The next day, I got a call from Jake the lawyer. Daniel, I've got some news. Tyler and Madison filed for bankruptcy. Chapter 7, full liquidation. That was fast. They didn't have much choice. The debts exceeded any possible assets. The restaurant sale fell through. Nobody wanted to touch it once they saw the real financials. What happens now? They lose everything. The restaurant gets liquidated. Their personal assets get seized to pay creditors. They'll probably have to move. Their credit will be destroyed for years. Good. Jake was quiet for a moment. You sound cold, Daniel. I am cold. They tried to bury me. Now they're buried instead. Just be careful. Bankruptcy is one thing, but people do desperate things when they lose everything. I'm not worried. After we hung up, I checked Tyler's Instagram. He'd deleted most of his posts, the carefully curated photos of restaurant life, the influencer content, the perfect life aesthetic, all gone. What remained was a single post from that morning. It was a photo of him and Madison sitting on a couch, not at their apartment, somewhere else. They looked exhausted, defeated. The caption was simple. Sometimes life humbles you. We're taking time to reflect and rebuild. Thank you to everyone who supported us. The comments were mostly sympathetic, people offering encouragement, saying they'd been through hard times too, wishing them well. Nobody knew the truth. Nobody knew what they'd said about me, what they'd done. But I knew, and that was enough. Frank called me that afternoon. Boss, you coming back to work soon? Next week. Doctor cleared me. Good. We miss you. Site's been chaos without you. I miss it too. And I did. I missed the physical work, the straightforward problems, the clear right and wrong of construction safety. Buildings didn't lie. Structures didn't betray you. If something was unstable, you could see it. Fix it. Make it right. People were messier. Hey, boss. I heard about Tyler's restaurant. The bankruptcy. You doing okay? I'm fine. You sure? That's got to be rough. Watching your kid go through that. He'll survive. Character building experience. Frank laughed, but it sounded uncertain. You're a tough man, Daniel Ward. I'm a realistic man. That night, I got a text from an unknown number. This is Madison. Please, I'm begging you. Help us. We'll do anything. I blocked the number. Another text came through. Different number. Dad, I don't know what else to say. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Please. I blocked that number too. They were scrambling, desperate, trying every angle. But I was done. I'd set things in motion, and now gravity was doing the rest. They were falling, and I was going to watch them hit the ground. Lauren came over that weekend, brought groceries and made dinner, and didn't mention Tyler until we were washing dishes. You know people are talking, right? About what? About you, about Tyler, about how you refused to help him. Good. Let them talk. Daniel, they're saying you're cruel, heartless, that you're taking revenge on your own son. They're right. She put down the dish towel and looked at me. You're not even going to pretend to care? Why should I? Because people will judge you. Because this affects your reputation too. I don't care about my reputation. Tyler and Madison cared about their reputation. Look where it got them. This isn't healthy. Neither is having a spine rebuilt because your son didn't care if you died. She was quiet for a long moment. What's the end game here, Daniel? You've destroyed his business. You've cut him off financially. You've turned his in-laws against him. What else do you want? I want him to understand. Understand what? That actions have consequences. That you can't just use people and throw them away. That family means something. I think he's learned that lesson. Not yet, but he will. She left shortly after that. Didn't hug me goodbye. Just gave me a long look that I couldn't quite read and walked out. I didn't care. I was past the point of caring what anyone thought. The only thing that mattered was finishing what I'd started. March came in cold and mean. I went back to work. First day back on the construction site, Frank took one look at me and whistled. You look like hell, boss. Thanks. Love you too. I'm serious. You sure you're ready for this? Doctor cleared me. I'm fine. I wasn't fine. My back hurt constantly, a dull ache that flared into sharp pain if I moved wrong. The back brace under my shirt felt like a cage. But I needed this. Needed the normalcy. Needed to be around people who didn't know about Tyler, didn't care about restaurant drama, just wanted to build things and go home. The site was a new development downtown, 6-story mixed-use building. My job was safety supervisor, making sure nobody died doing something stupid. It was satisfying work, clear rules, obvious dangers, easy solutions, unlike everything else in my life. I was doing a walkthrough on the 3rd floor when my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Mr. Ward, this is Janet from St. Michael's billing department. My stomach dropped. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. I'm actually calling with good news. Your account has been paid in full. What? Someone paid off your balance. A cashier's check for $63,000. It came through this morning. I stood there on the construction site, hard hat in hand, trying to process. Who paid it? The check didn't have a name, just a note that said, "For Daniel Ward's medical expenses." We tried to trace it, but it was purchased with cash. Completely anonymous. That's unexpected. We thought you should know. Your account is now at zero balance. You're all set. After she hung up, I just stood there. $63,000. Anonymous. It had to be Lauren. She was the only person who knew about the bills, who cared enough to help. But Lauren didn't have that kind of money lying around. She was comfortable, but not $60,000 in cash, comfortable. Robert Hale? Maybe. But why would he do that? Tyler? No way. He was bankrupt. The mystery gnawed at me for days. Then, the following week, I got a letter. Hand-delivered to my apartment. No return address. The envelope was thick, expensive paper. Inside was a single typed note. You were right about Tyler and Madison. They used everyone, including us. Thank you for opening our eyes. Consider the hospital debt a thank you. The Hales. I read it 3 times. Robert and Patricia Hale had paid my medical bills, not out of kindness, out of gratitude for exposing their daughter and son-in-law's financial incompetence. I should have felt relieved. Instead, I felt hollow. The Hales had turned on their own daughter, cut her off completely, and I'd provided the ammunition for them to do it. I told myself I didn't care. Madison had made her choices. She deserved whatever she got. But something about the letter left a bad taste in my mouth. Frank noticed I was distracted. You okay, boss? You've been staring at that safety harness for 5 minutes. I'm fine, just thinking. About Tyler? How'd you know? He shrugged. Word gets around. Heard the bankruptcy went through. Heard they lost everything. Good. That's cold, man. He earned it. Frank studied me for a moment. You know, my dad used to say that revenge is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die. Your dad was wrong. Revenge is watching someone face consequences for being a terrible person. If you say so. But his words stuck with me. Was I drinking poison? Was I hurting myself as much as Tyler? I pushed the thought away. That night, Tyler showed up at my apartment again. I was eating dinner, Chinese takeout, eating straight from the container because I couldn't be bothered with plates, when I heard the knock. I considered not answering, but curiosity won again. Tyler looked different, thinner, older. He'd cut his hair short, and the Instagram-perfect styling was gone. He was wearing a work uniform, the kind you get from a restaurant supply company, generic and cheap. I got a job, he said. No hello, no preamble. Good for you. Line cook at the Riverside Diner, $8 an hour plus tips. The Riverside Diner was the kind of place where truckers stopped for coffee at 3 a.m. Nothing glamorous, nothing Instagram-worthy. From chef-owner to line cook, I said. That's quite a fall. Yeah, it is. He wasn't being sarcastic, just stating facts. Madison's working retail at the mall. We moved into a studio apartment in the bad part of town. It's got roaches, and the heat doesn't work half the time. Why are you telling me this? Because I want you to know that I understand. I get it now. I understand what I did, what I threw away. Took you long enough. He leaned against the door frame. He looked exhausted. Madison's parents won't talk to her. She cries every night. We fight constantly. We're probably going to get divorced. That's unfortunate. Is it? You wanted us to suffer. Well, we're suffering. Are you happy now? I looked at him. Really looked at him. Saw the broken shell of the confident, arrogant chef who'd laughed about my accident. No, I said, and realized it was true. I'm not happy. Then what was the point? The point was to make you understand that people aren't disposable, that your actions matter, that you can't just use people and throw them away when they're inconvenient. I understand that now. Do you? Or do you just understand that there are consequences when you get caught? He was quiet. That's what I thought. What do you want from me, Dad? You want me to grovel, to beg, to admit that I'm a worthless piece of shit who deserves everything that happened? Fine. I'm all of those things. I'm a failure. I'm a terrible son. I'm everything you think I am. Happy? No. Then what? I didn't have an answer. He stood there for another moment, waiting. When I didn't say anything, he turned to leave. Tyler. He stopped, didn't turn around. The job at the diner, how is it? It's honest work. I show up, I cook, I go home. Nobody cares about my Instagram following. Nobody cares about my story. I'm just another cook. Is that terrible? No? He looked back at me. Actually, it's kind of a relief, not having to maintain the image all the time, not having to pretend everything's perfect. Then maybe losing everything was the best thing that could have happened to you. He laughed, bitter, humorless. You really believe that? I think you needed to hit bottom before you could figure out who you really are. And who am I? I don't know, but you're not the guy who left his father to die on Christmas. Not anymore. Something shifted in his expression. Are you saying you forgive me? No, I'm saying I don't know you well enough anymore to make that decision. He nodded slowly. Fair enough. After he left, I sat in my apartment for a long time, thinking, processing. The revenge had been satisfying. Watching Tyler's perfect life crumble, watching him face consequences, watching him understand what he'd done. All of that had felt right. But now, looking at the broken man who just walked out of my apartment, I wasn't sure anymore. Had I gone too far? Had I become the monster I was trying to punish? I called Lauren. You were right, I said when she answered. About what? The poison thing, the revenge, all of it. She was quiet for a moment. What happened? I told her about Tyler's visit, about the job at the diner, about Madison crying every night. And you feel guilty? Lauren said. I don't know what I feel. That's progress. For a while there, you didn't seem to feel anything. They deserved consequences. They got consequences. The question is, do they deserve forgiveness? I don't know. Then maybe that's something you need to figure out. After we hung up, I pulled out my laptop, started going through all the files I'd collected, the research, the vendor contacts, the court documents. I'd been thorough, methodical, ruthless. I'd set out to destroy Tyler's life, and I'd succeeded. But now what? I closed the laptop and went to bed. Lay there in the dark, back aching, thinking about choices and consequences and whether there was such a thing as too much revenge. I didn't have answers. But for the first time since Christmas, I was asking the questions. The next few weeks passed in a blur. Work, physical therapy, evenings alone in my apartment. The routine was comfortable, predictable. Tyler didn't come back, didn't call, didn't text. I told myself I was fine with that. He needed to focus on rebuilding his life. I needed to focus on whatever I was focusing on. But the emptiness was there, constant, like a low-grade hum in the background of everything. I'd gotten my revenge. I'd made Tyler suffer. I'd proven my point. And now I was alone with my victory, trying to figure out why it felt so much like defeat. April arrived with rain that wouldn't quit and a phone call I didn't expect. It was late on a Tuesday night. I was watching some mindless TV show, barely paying attention, when my phone rang. Unknown number again. I'd gotten wary of those, but I answered anyway. Mr. Ward, this is Officer Chen from the police department. My stomach dropped. What happened? Nothing serious. Well, depending on your perspective. We have your son here at the station. He's not under arrest, but he asked if we could call you. What did he do? Got into an altercation at his workplace. The owner decided not to press charges, but we needed to escort him off the premises. He doesn't have anyone else to call. What about his wife? He said she's not answering her phone. Of course she wasn't. I'll be there in 20 minutes. The police station was downtown, a squat brick building that looked exactly like every police station in every small city. I walked in, gave Tyler's name to the desk sergeant, and waited. Tyler emerged from a back room looking like he'd been in a fight. His uniform was torn, there was a bruise forming on his jaw, and his hands were shaking. Thanks for coming, he said quietly. What happened? Can we just go? I'll explain in the car. We walked to my truck in silence. The rain had stopped, but everything was wet and cold. Tyler climbed into the passenger seat and stared straight ahead. I started the engine. Talk. I got fired. I gathered that. Why? There was this customer, drunk guy. He was harassing one of the waitresses. Wouldn't leave her alone. I told him to back off. He got aggressive. I pushed him. He fell, hit his head on a table. Then everything went crazy. Did you start the fight? No. I was defending someone. And the owner fired you anyway? The owner's an asshole. He said I was creating drama, that I needed to just ignore it and do my job. Tyler's voice was bitter. So I'm unemployed again. We drove in silence for a few minutes. I didn't know where I was taking him. His apartment was across town, but I found myself heading toward my place instead. Where's Madison? I asked. I don't know. We're fighting. She left this morning, and I haven't heard from her since. You think she's coming back? He shrugged. Does it matter? Even if she does, we're done. We've been done for a while now. We just keep pretending because neither of us wants to admit failure. I pulled into my parking lot. Come up. You look like you need coffee. He followed me up the 3 flights, sat on my couch while I made coffee, accepted the mug I handed him with a quiet thanks. We sat there for a while, not talking. Just 2 people in a room, drinking coffee, avoiding the conversation they needed to have. Finally, Tyler spoke. I don't know what I'm doing anymore, Dad. Join the club. No, I mean, everything I thought I wanted, everything I worked for, it's gone. And now I'm sitting here trying to figure out who I am without all of that. Without the restaurant, without the Instagram following, without the image. Who are you? I don't know. That's the problem. I sipped my coffee. Thought about my response. You're 20 years old. 31. Right, 31. You're 31 years old, and you've already had a complete life implosion. Most people don't get that kind of education until they're 50. Lucky me. I'm serious. You've learned something valuable. You've learned that image isn't substance, that shortcuts catch up with you, that people aren't disposable. I learned that lesson too late. Better late than never. He looked at me, really looked at me. Are we okay, Dad? I don't know. Are we? I want to be. I want to fix this. But I don't know how. Neither do I. Then what do we do? I set down my coffee mug. We figure it out. One day at a time, one conversation at a time. We don't pretend the past didn't happen, but we don't let it define everything going forward. That sounds reasonable. It's the best I've got. He smiled. Just a little. First genuine smile I'd seen from him in months. Thanks for picking me up tonight. You're welcome. He left about an hour later. I called him a cab. He was too shaken to walk, and I didn't trust him to get home safely on his own. After he left, I sat in my apartment, staring at the wall, trying to process. Something had shifted. Not forgiveness, not yet. But maybe the beginning of something. A crack in the ice. The next day, Frank pulled me aside on the site. Hey, boss. Got a minute? Sure. What's up? You know how we've been talking about needing another safety supervisor for the Jefferson Street project? Yeah. What if we hired Tyler? I stared at him. What? Hear me out. The kid needs a job. He needs structure. He needs to learn honest work. And you need someone you can trust to follow your protocols exactly. Who better than your son? Frank, that's crazy? Yeah, probably. But think about it. It's steady work, union benefits, real training, and you'd be there to make sure he doesn't screw it up. I'm not sure that's a good idea. Why not? Because you're still mad at him? Because you want him to keep suffering? No, because I don't know if we're ready to work together. Only one way to find out. I thought about it for the rest of the day, turned it over in my mind from every angle. Tyler needed a job, needed stability, needed a purpose, and maybe, just maybe, I needed to stop punishing him and start helping him rebuild. That night, I called him. Hey, Dad. I have a job offer for you. Silence. Then, what? Safety supervisor trainee, construction site, union job with benefits. Interested? Are you serious? Completely. You'd be working under me, following my rules, doing exactly what I tell you. It's not glamorous, it's not Instagram worthy, but it's honest work, and it pays decent. Yes, absolutely. When do I start? Monday, 8 a.m. sharp. Don't be late. I won't. Thank you, Dad. Really. Thank you. After we hung up, I sat there wondering if I'd just made a huge mistake, but it felt right. For the first time in months, something felt right. Tyler showed up Monday morning at 7:30. Early, wearing work boots and a hard hat that was too big for him. Frank took one look at him and grinned. You must be Tyler. Heard a lot about you. All bad, I'm sure. 50-50. Frank handed him a clipboard. You're going to shadow your dad today. Watch everything he does. Learn the protocols. Construction safety isn't exciting, but it keeps people alive. You good with that? I'm good with that. We spent the day walking the site. I showed Tyler how to inspect scaffolding, how to check harnesses and safety lines, how to spot violations before they become accidents. He asked questions, good questions, paid attention, took notes. At lunch, we sat in the trailer eating sandwiches. This is different from the restaurant, Tyler said. No kidding. I mean, it's more real. Everything has a purpose. Everything matters. Welcome to the world of people who work for a living, he laughed. I deserve that. Yeah, you did. We worked until 5. Tyler looked exhausted but satisfied, the kind of tired that comes from doing real work. Same time tomorrow? He asked as we were leaving. Same time. Thanks, Dad, for giving me this chance. Don't thank me, just don't screw it up. Over the next few weeks, Tyler became a fixture on the site. He showed up early, stayed late, asked questions, learned fast. The crew started to accept him, not because he was my son, but because he pulled his weight. Did the work. Didn't complain. One afternoon, we were inspecting the 5th floor when Tyler's phone buzzed. He glanced at it and his expression darkened. Madison? I asked. Her lawyer. The divorce papers are ready to sign. How do you feel about that? Relieved, honestly. We should have done this months ago. That's mature of you. I'm trying to be better, about everything. We kept working. But that night, after everyone had gone home, Tyler stayed behind. Can I ask you something? He said. Sure. Do you think you'll ever forgive me? Really forgive me? I thought about it. I don't know. Maybe. Someday. But that's not something you can force. It's something that happens when it happens. Fair enough. He started to leave, then turned back. For what it's worth, I'm sorry. Not just for Christmas. For everything. For being a selfish, arrogant prick who thought the world owed him something, for treating people like props in my Instagram life, for forgetting that the people who matter most are the ones who were there before the cameras. Tyler, I'm not done. I'm sorry for laughing at your accident, for abandoning you in the hospital, for treating you like you were disposable. I'm sorry for all of it, and I know saying sorry doesn't fix anything, but I need you to know that I mean it, that I understand what I did, that I'm trying to be better. I stood there, hard hat in hand, looking at my son. He'd changed. Really changed. This wasn't the polished, camera-ready Tyler. This was someone raw and honest and real. I believe you, I said finally. Yeah? Yeah. You've got a long way to go, but I believe you're trying. He smiled. That's a start. After he left, I walked the empty site, checked the locks, made sure everything was secure. The city lights spread out below. I thought about revenge, about punishment, about consequences. I'd set out to destroy Tyler's life, to make him understand what he'd done, to make him suffer, and I'd succeeded. But somewhere along the way, something had shifted. The satisfaction had turned hollow. The victory had felt like defeat. Tyler was rebuilding. Slowly, painfully, but honestly. And maybe that was enough. Maybe that was what I'd wanted all along. Not his suffering, but his transformation. I walked to my truck, climbed in, and drove home through the wet streets. The story wasn't over. Tyler had a long road ahead. So did I. But for the first time since Christmas, I felt like maybe, just maybe, we'd both survive this. May came with warmer weather and a phone call that changed everything. I was at the site, going over inspection reports with Frank, when my phone rang. Lauren. Daniel, turn on the news. What channel? Any channel. It's everywhere. I pulled up a news app on my phone. The headline hit me like a truck. Prominent restaurant investors arrested in multi-million-dollar fraud scheme. I clicked the article, started reading. Federal investigators arrested Robert and Patricia Hale this morning in connection with an elaborate investment fraud scheme spanning multiple years. The Hales allegedly defrauded investors of over $12 million through fake restaurant ventures and property developments. Among the victims were several local business owners, including their own son-in-law, Tyler Ward, who lost his restaurant Ember and Oak in the collapse. I read it again, then a third time. Daniel, you there? Lauren's voice on the phone. Yeah, I'm here. Did you know? No, I had no idea. The news is saying Tyler was a victim, that the Hales used Ember and Oak as part of their scheme, that they funneled money through it and deliberately tanked it to cover their tracks. My mind was racing. All those financial problems, the unpaid vendors, the lawsuits, the collapse. Tyler had blamed himself. We'd all blamed Tyler. But maybe it hadn't been his fault at all. I called Tyler. He answered on the first ring. Did you see? I'm watching it right now, he said. His voice sounded hollow. Madison just called me. She's losing her mind. Her parents are in federal custody, Dad. The FBI arrested them at their house this morning. Do you know the details? Only what's on the news. Apparently they've been running this scam for years, using fake restaurants and developments as fronts. They'd get investors, funnel the money through the businesses, then shut them down and blame it on bad management. Ember and Oak was just one of many. Tyler, did you know? No. God, no. I thought we were just failing. I thought it was my fault. I thought I was a terrible businessman. But apparently my in-laws were embezzling funds the entire time. The medical debt, I said suddenly. The cashier's check that paid off my hospital bills. That wasn't gratitude. They were trying to buy my silence. What? I told him about the anonymous payment. The letter from the Hales. Tyler was quiet for a long moment. They used everyone. Madison, me, you. All of us were just props in their scam. Where's Madison now? At the police station. They're questioning her, trying to figure out how much she knew. Did she know? I don't think so, but I don't know anymore. I don't know anything anymore. We talked for a few more minutes. Tyler promised to keep me updated. Then we hung up. I stood there on the construction site trying to process. Everything I'd thought about Tyler's failure, about his financial mismanagement, about his character, all of it had been based on false information. He hadn't destroyed his restaurant. His in-laws had destroyed it while using him as cover. I'd been punishing the wrong person. The thought made me sick. Frank walked over. You okay, boss? You look like you've seen a ghost. I might have. I told him what happened. He whistled low. Damn. So the kid wasn't a screw-up after all? Apparently not, at least not about the restaurant. That changes things? Yeah, it does. The news coverage exploded over the next few days. The Hales' scheme was bigger than anyone realized. They'd scammed dozens of people, used shell companies and fake businesses, lived a lifestyle they couldn't afford while destroying other people's lives. Madison was eventually cleared. Investigators determined she'd been kept in the dark, used as an unwitting accomplice to make the restaurant look legitimate. But her parents were going to prison. The evidence was overwhelming. Tyler came to my apartment that weekend. He looked different, lighter somehow, like a weight had been lifted. I'm not a failure, he said as soon as I opened the door. No, you're not. I mean, I'm still a terrible son who said horrible things and abandoned his father in a hospital, but at least I'm not a failed businessman. That's one way to look at it. He sat on my couch. Same spot he'd sat months ago when everything was falling apart, but now everything was different. Madison and I talked, he said, really talked, for the first time in months. How is she? Devastated, angry, relieved, all of it. Her parents betrayed her too. I used her as part of their scheme without her knowing. She's got a good therapist helping her work through it. Are you getting back together? No, we're still getting divorced, but now it's amicable. We're both victims of the same scam, might as well be civil about it. That's mature. I'm trying. He looked at me. Dad, I need to tell you something. Okay. You were right, about everything. About me being selfish, about me using people, about me caring more about image than substance. You were right, and I was wrong, and I'm sorry. Tyler, but I also need you to know that what you did, setting me up to fail, sabotaging the restaurant, turning Madison's parents against us, that was cruel. I deserved consequences, but I didn't deserve that. He was right. I knew he was right. I went too far, I said. Yeah, you did. I was angry. I wanted you to suffer the way I'd suffered. I wanted you to understand. And I do understand, but you almost destroyed me, Dad. Not just my business, me as a person. I almost didn't come back from that. I sat there looking at my son, seeing the damage I'd caused. I'm sorry, I said, and meant it. I should have handled it differently. Should have just talked to you. Should have given you a chance to make it right. Would I have listened? Probably not. Then maybe it had to happen this way. Maybe I needed to hit rock bottom before I could rebuild. He leaned forward. But here's the thing. I hit bottom. I learned the lesson. And now I'm trying to climb back up. The question is, are you going to help me, or are you going to keep pushing me down? I want to help. Then forgive me. Really forgive me. Not this half-assed, maybe someday forgiveness. Real forgiveness. Can you do that? I thought about Christmas, about the hospital, about the phone call and the laughter and the betrayal. But I also thought about the past months, about Tyler showing up to work every day, about him taking responsibility, about him changing. Yes, I said, I forgive you. Really? Really. You screwed up. You were a terrible son. But you're not that person anymore. And I'm not going to keep punishing you for who you used to be. He smiled, really smiled. Thanks, Dad. You're welcome, but I need you to forgive me too. For what? For going too far, for being cruel, for using your pain as punishment instead of trying to help you learn. I forgive you. he said without hesitation. We're both imperfect people who hurt each other, but we're trying to be better. That's what matters. We talked for hours that night. Really talked. Not surface conversations or angry accusations, but honest communication about feelings and mistakes and regrets. By the time Tyler left, something had healed between us. Not completely, but enough. The next Monday at work, Tyler showed up with coffee for everyone on the crew. "What's this?" Frank asked. "Appreciation," Tyler said. "For giving me a chance. For teaching me real work. For not treating me like the screw-up everyone thinks I am." The crew accepted the coffee and got back to work. But I saw the looks they gave Tyler. Looks of respect. Acceptance. He'd earned his place here. Not because of his last name, but because of his work ethic. That afternoon we were inspecting the roof when Tyler spoke up. "I've been thinking about something." "Yeah?" "The property upstate. The one you own. The one I kept bugging you about." My jaw tightened. "What about it?" "I want to help you fix it up, not buy it, not take it from you, just help. We could spend weekends there, do the work together, make it into something real instead of just an investment." "Why?" "Because I want to build something with you, something that matters, something that isn't about money or image or Instagram likes, just a father and son working together." I looked at him, saw the sincerity in his face. "Okay," I said, "let's do it." We started that weekend, drove up to the property together. It was a mess, 6 units that needed serious work, plumbing issues, electrical problems, roofs that leaked. But we worked, side by side. Tyler learned how to replace pipes and fix drywall and install fixtures. I taught him everything I knew about construction and maintenance. It was hard work, physical work, the kind that leaves you sore and satisfied. And somewhere in the middle of all that work, we became father and son again. Not the father and son we'd been before. That relationship was gone, broken, unfixable. But something new, something stronger, something built on honesty and work and mutual respect. By the end of May, we'd finished the first unit, rented it out to a nice couple for a fair price, used the rent money to start on the second unit. It felt good, real, substantial. One evening, we were sitting on the porch of the property, drinking beer and watching the sunset. "This is better than the restaurant ever was," Tyler said. "How so?" "The restaurant was all about appearances, about looking successful, about the image. This?" He gestured to the property. "This is real. We're actually creating something, building something. It matters." "That's what I've been trying to tell you." "Yeah, well, I'm a slow learner." We sat in comfortable silence for a while. "Dad?" "Yeah?" "Thanks for not giving up on me, even when I deserved it." "Thanks for not giving up on yourself." He smiled. "We're kind of a mess, aren't we?" "Yeah, but we're our mess, and that's something." The sun set behind the mountains, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. We finished our beers and got back to work. There was still a lot to do. On the property, on ourselves, on our relationship. But we were doing it together, and that made all the difference.